Blender, the 2D animation program, and I'm going to start from scratch. I'm brand new at this, so I'm learning as I go. Alright, so I'm just going to start and just go with it and see what happens. Alright, that seems a little bit better. Alright, so I gotta remember he's got pretty big shoes there. And his arms will be pretty simple. I'll just make like mittens on the guy. So he'll have the mitten hands and his round skull like that. And then no eyes, no face. I'll just focus on the physical form. Alright, so there's the first frame. This is going to be rough. But now that you have the first frame, if you just click in the second frame, it'll show you the onion effect of the last frame. So the first thing I want to do is, let's see, I think when you're standing there, let's see, I usually lean forward a little if I'm going to walk. So let me have him lean forward a little. And I already messed up there. His head got way too big all of a sudden. So I have to soften that up a little and back off. Alright. So this is my biggest weakness, tracing lines. I'm not very good at it. So practice is pretty important. Alright, so that is like that. That line moved way too fast there. Alright, so because I'm not good at copying lines that great, I haven't done cell animation in a long time. And I've never done it in Blender till today. It's going to look a little weird. So here he is here, and there he goes there. What'll happen is you're going to see a lot of wobbling effect. Like his form will be bouncing all over the place. Alright, so I'm going to have his leg start to move. Bend that foot. I'm sorry, bend the knee. So if the knee's bending, that'll disappear for the volume there. Alright, and this arm's going to kick back. It'll never go forward naturally when that same leg on that same foot on that side is moving forward. Alright, so this head, I'll just go slightly forward with it. The torso, I guess they'll go like that. And now his other leg should probably be about in the same spot. Now this arm here, this arm will go forward because it's opposite of the other leg. Alright, so I'll jump to frame 4. And now the biggest thing I usually do with animation is I focus on the item or the limb that's moving the most, and then I just go from there. Like normally I do puppet type animation with skeletons, and you move the whole skeleton, and that'll make it so much easier, like computer animation, 3D computer animation. Alright, and this arm will move forward a little. I'll actually start to bend the the hand. And this arm will start to move back a little. I think I could start to give him like a fist position. And I can't forget about that other leg back there. Once I play this back, it's going to be jumping all over. Plus I have to color it in. Alright, so I'm on frame 5. And this leg, I'm just going to kick forward all of a sudden. See, if you don't let go, it'll keep that other line really full color. Alright, so that leg will kick forward a lot more rapidly there. This arm, I'm going to start to bend the elbow. And then I'm going to give him a full fist of his hand right there. And then this head, I'll move it back slightly since his leg's finally catching up. And then the torso. See, the only thing I don't like is when you start the line, it starts really thin. So you have to really connect it at that point. Alright, so this arm here, I'll give him the fist as well. Like that. And the arm seems really short, so I have to exaggerate that more. Alright, that back leg was originally here, so I want to stay consistent with that. And then that foot went like that, something like that. I'm really not used to this, so the character probably grew like into a whole different form. Alright, so here we are on this frame. Now I think his foot would be right up here, and the torso will be like that. This will go down like that, and then this, let's see, I think this will be moving backwards now, so I'm going to move that back there a little. I don't want to lose the form too much, so let me draw a little bit of that going on there. Alright, now his back arm will be up here somewhere as it starts to take on different shapes here. Yeah, this is tough. If you don't practice in a while, it's going to be all over the place. But hey, that's part of the challenge of cell animation. Alright, so this arm will start to really kick forward. I'll just give it something like that right now. And now we'll go into the full keyframe. I should have did keyframes. Maybe I should do that first. I think that'd be smart. I'd have a lot more control. Alright, I forgot about keyframes. Normally I do that within the other software, but like Animate Studio Pro with the skeletons, you just do keyframes. Alright, but let's see. So if I jump ahead to frame 10, alright, let's see, he's here. So this frame, alright, so let's say by frame 10, his leg is fully stretched out. Let's do that. Wow, say you lose it. I can't do that. I gotta go back. I lost the onion effect. If I don't have that, I don't have a point of reference. I went too far ahead. Yeah, I don't know how to do keyframing in this program yet. That's weird. The whole onion effect disappeared. Maybe I went too far. Maybe this is the frame. There's got to be a way to adjust that. Transparency or whatever that is. I haven't taken a good look at it yet. Alright, so I'll just go frame to frame. And this foot will be kicking up pretty far. That'll affect his back a little. And then that other leg will go even further back. Like that. This head will start to move backwards as it changes shape because of my inconsistency here. I'll lift this arm up here and then I'll draw that like that and just keep it really simple. This arm will fully extend up and then something like that and that and then that. Like that. And then go to that frame. Alright, I really want this leg already down at this point. He's taken way too long to get this walk going. Alright, so here he is here. I'm actually going to lift this back heel about a little bit and move that forward, and this elbow will be fully extended up. Not too much of a difference there, but and then his head will go back here somehow. Then get that torso connected. I'll move his other hand over here and then go like that and something like that and bend it in there. Yeah, these lines, I think we're gonna have a problem. I got a weird brush here, so that's probably affecting it. I'm using like a rough pen brush, but I kind of like the style of it. Alright, so that one is finished. Now his whole torso is going to lift as his leg lifts. Actually, not too much. His knee's going to bend now as his foot hits the ground. Wow, that foot flattened out a little too much. So let's just remember to keep that foot pretty big, like I think it was in the original. What's funny about my lack of consistency is by the time you get to the last frame, it'll look like a whole different character. You'll be like, well, what happened there? But that's definitely something to focus in on. Line consistency and tracing and all that stuff. Alright. So this face will be like something like that. Now his arms are going to start to come back down. So let's start with that. I'm just not used to this pen, how it's like almost like a it's almost like working with sand, like drawing a line through sand. That's kind of what it feels like, except there's like a, well, not sand, maybe through water, like going through, drawing a line through water where the After Effect kind of like shifts the water a little bit from the line you just drew. Alright, so his foot is there. That means his torso should really lift up at this point. But I don't have enough room for him to fit within the frame. But I'm going to lift him up anyway. So his torso will move up significantly. And this arm should be almost down here at this point. It's a rapid shift. So his head. Yeah, let me go to frame 1. Yeah, look at that. Alright. So his head is really going through a morphing phase, really warping and shifting and everything else. Alright, so that back foot will be fully lifted. Kind of like that. And now frame 11, we'll have this leg over here fully extended, and then just move that line there. He'll still be at a higher position because he's fully lifted up there. This leg is going to be here at the midway point, like that. Now this arm really should be right in the center here, but I don't know how to erase, so I'm just going to push it forward a little. Yeah, I got to figure out how to erase. I'm in trouble already. Rather than have the arm too far forward, I'm just going to hold it back a little. It's going to look a little weird. But it should be parallel with his body at this point. But I got to learn these tools better. I've honestly have not worked in Blender at all. I tried years ago, but I just couldn't get used to the software. Like I like to in 3D animation be able to just use like tools like this to rotate the screen and everything else, but they finally added these tools, unless I was missing them years and years ago. But normally they wanted to use the keyboard to rotate around the 3D object and all that. But it looks like they added these little handy tools finally, because I don't think I remember seeing those in the past version unless they were hidden. But I never really took any training for it, so that's my fault. Alright, but it's still a great program. I've seen some absolutely amazing things achieved on it, so it's just a matter of learning the software. Alright, so here we are, and now I'm going to really push this arm forward where it should have been before, but now I have to catch up a little here. And this head's warping like crazy over the process of this animation. Now this leg is finally going to be pushed further back, and then this other leg is going to kick forward, but it has to do it so it's above the ground and not dragging on the ground, otherwise he's going to have a problem. And this other hand, I'll just go like that. You won't even see the other arm at this point. Alright, and next thing I'll do is, see, I usually like to have the lead leg guide me through the animation. So that's why I start with this leg each time. And then I say, okay, if the leg is there, where's his arm? And now his arm should be almost really forward. One one funny thing that I end up doing is the character is usually like really, short in the beginning, and then by the time I get done with the animation, he's almost like twice the height and much thinner or much larger than I originally started. So I give credit to any type of animator who could just keep the lines really consistent from frame to frame. And I think the keyframes are probably the real key to that. I'm not going with any keyframes, so it's really difficult to remember where or just to trace it without seeing the similar shape of the prior keyframe. Alright, so this elbow's starting to come back here, and that hand disappears there. And one thing we could do right now is just play it back. So let's see what that looks like. Alright, so if we go here, we can say end frame. We'll go, let's say, I don't know, what am I on there? Probably 14 or 13. So here we play it back. You can see he's starting to walk. He's like warping like crazy, almost like he's made of clay or plastic or some kind of material like Gumby. Alright, so there's that. That's not too bad. You get a sense of motion. Alright, so let's go back to end frame. Let's go to 30 or whatever, 40. And then we'll color this in and see what it looks like finished. I could put a background in there somehow if there's like transparency. I don't know, I'll find out. This is my first ever animation within Blender 2D. When I saw it had a 2D tab on there right when you start the program, I was like, wow, that's really cool. I said, let me try it out. I animated in Toon Boom Studio years ago on my old computer, and that was super challenging to figure out how to just even advance to the next frame. There's like a lock on it. I forget how that worked. It was really complicated. But they probably since improved it, and it's a lot easier to work with. Once I understood what was going on, I got the hang of it, and I could do animation pretty good. But I decided to just go with computer animation instead of Cel, because Cel animation takes forever. This scene here, for what I'm doing, takes like an hour plus, while in Anime Studio Pro, when I draw the character and piece them together and add them a skeleton, takes like 5 to 10 minutes tops for the whole animation. And then you could do actions and all that. I'm sure you could do that in this. I'm new to this, so it's all a mystery. I'd have to watch a lot more animation and how-to tutorials. Alright, so here we are here. If you click on there, let's get that knee up all the way, and let's really lift that foot. Now see how this arm's coming forward? Let's really bring it up more. Like way more than that. Well, actually no, that's good. And we'll just have his fist like that. We don't want to go up too much, but I have to remember that his alright, let's see. This foot will be bending, and it should be almost at the toe right there of the shoe, and then just kick it into there. This piece will go up there. This will go over there. Let's see, where's that other arm going? So that arm will be going back like that. Now we're going to finally see his hand start to appear like that. So that shoulder really goes back there. It's a little weird. Should probably fix it, but I'm just going to go ahead with it. The hell with it. Alright, so that goes like that. And the face is getting real warped. So that's frame 15. So he's pretty much at the peak of that leg. I'm just going to have him kick out right down to the ground with it, like real fast. Like that. This leg here will be all the way back kicking up now. It's going to lift off the ground. Like that. And then you go like that. And connect that there. Look how long his legs got. I knew that was going to happen though. But that's part of why, if you do it this way, you're going to miss out on a lot of benefits of keyframing. But I'm not sure how to get the onion effect so I could see what my prior frames were. I'd have to learn. See, this arm is not right. It should be up even further. I want the hand up here, like really exaggerated. Something like that. And I could actually just draw the whole thing like that. And then connect that there. I mean, this is a fun process. I really do like it, even though I'm way off on this. It's still fun. Now this arm on the back, I have to remember it's originating out of here. So I'm just going to bring it up here. And that thumb will be like right about there, and then something like that, and then go like that. Alright. I think I'm like an hour in this or something, or 40 minutes in. I don't even know. I don't have a clock right here, so I'm just going as I go. Alright, so this leg is going to bend all of a sudden because it's got to allow for the weight of his torso. And then this leg is going to start to kick in from back there to over here, and then his arm's going to start reaching down as all the pressures reaching the center there. One thing that Disney does is they rotoscope, so they'll actually look at a real person. Well, not all the time, but they'll, for their like famous animated movies, they would rotoscope off of a real horse or a real dog or a real person for a lot of the motions, and that's how you get those really realistic motions. They look really awesome. And the thing is, they're creating their own original character out of it. They're not trying to replicate a real human. They're just creating a cartoon out of it, which looks really awesome. Alright, so now I wish Cel Animation would come back for the Disney animated films. That would be great. I was watching a movie called Tom and Jerry. It's a 2019 movie or something like that. And the 3D animators studied the 2D classic Tom and Jerry animations, and with some really good computer animation techniques, they were able to replicate the look and the flow and the motion of Tom and Jerry really well. It's like a live action movie, so Tom and Jerry aren't really the stars of it, unfortunately. But for the animation, it's really great. They did an amazing job replicating the style of cell animation with 3D animation. Alright, I have to remember to get back to this. So this leg here is now the kicking forward, so I'm just gonna go with it right there right away without. And now this leg here should actually be bouncing up, but I'm just gonna bend it like that. Now this arm here should be like that. I forgot to draw it first because I need to learn where the eraser is. It's weird because I'm working in a program that really doesn't. I think I think there's a way to make this all 3D. It's like in 3D space. I'm not sure. Like if the camera could rotate around this as though it were 3D, but it's positioned on this as though it's 2D animation. Alright, so now I'm on this frame here. Let me see where I am here. Alright, so that's going like that. That kicks in like that. Wow, look how thin this guy got. He's really working out, so he saved a lot of calories. He used a lot of calories up in 18 frames, less than a couple seconds, I'd say. All right, so I'm on frame 18. Where did I start? I started just standing still, and that left leg is kicking forward. Now it's back, and now it's going to return to that position there and that position there. Let's see if I haven't already done that. Alright, so now I could copy frames. Not yet, but almost. Like right there, I think that would be a good frame for that right there. So that frame there and that frame there. I wonder how to copy. Let me see. Maybe it's Control C. Which one do I want to? The whole problem is it's going to warp really bad because the character's shape is so off the mark right now. I think I'll just keep drawing and the heck with it. By the end, I got to get back to that more pudgy shape of the original. Alright, so this leg is moving forward. Where's that arm going? That arm's going back. So this arm I'm going to draw first, like that, and get that out of the way first because it's the most foreground object. This knee is kicking forward all of a sudden. and this foot is dragging across the ground a little bit. Now his head, let's see, I think it would be kind of like that, and then that would go like that. Now where's that other arm? I guess I'll just draw a little flap over there. Alright, so this leg is moving backwards. So it's going to be like that right there. Kind of like that. And next I gotta go here. Let me try to blend in. I gotta see if I could do this. So that's what I would have right there. Let me see if I can copy that. How do I zoom in here? Copy. No, it's when I press control it goes into some zoom 3D mode. I don't know what that is. Maybe there's a edit copy. Nah. Yeah, I'm not used to Blender. I have a lot to learn. Maybe it's has something here. Insert keyframe. I watched a really long tutorial, but I skipped through it, so I missed a lot of what was happening. I just didn't have enough time at the moment to look at it all, and it wasn't really explaining anything out loud. It was just like music playing, so you had to just really pay attention and watch each key button being pressed. Alright, so I don't see a copy button anywhere here. I'm sure it's right in front of me, I just don't see it. It's like when the first time you get into a car, you're like, what does this button do? What does that do? It's like you feel lost a little bit if you didn't study it ahead of time. Usually that happens when you're not even of the age to start driving. You just look at all the wheels and gears and buttons and you're like, wow, that's pretty complicated looking, you know? But once you get the general idea of it, it's not too bad. Like I feel really comfortable in Anime Studio Pro for animation 2D software, where I know all the tools that I need and everything else, but this is set up so much different. So it feels like trying to learn how to maybe drive a really complicated tractor trailer or something. You got to know where all the engine parts are and the gears, like 12 plus gears. Alright, so now I'm on this one here. What's happening here? Okay, that front leg is going to move up. So let's just get it right in the air like that. Bounce that foot up there really quick. This arm is going to go back right about there. We're going to start shrinking this guy's limbs so he gets more to the original first frame. So when it loops, it won't be so drastic. I gotta shrink his legs. They're too long. Alright, so that goes like that. I gotta start doing that like right now. Alright, this arm. Wait a second. That there. Okay, that's right. Oops. I'm on the wrong frame. I'm gonna go back. There we go. Yeah, I remember right out of college, I learned computer animation. You pretty much had to teach yourself because the professors they had some knowledge of the animation software, but not much. So you had to go through every page in the book to learn how to use the software. But my point was, I applied for some Cel animation studios, like right out of college, and I said, "Oh well, yeah, you know, I learned computer animation. I can do cell animation and everything else." So the guy sent from his animation studio from California a animation test. So I had to do something like this, where you go frame to frame. But the guy specifically said, you know, keep everything in proportion with the original character. Let's see what your keyframes are and all this. And I looked at that and I said, oh, this is going to be really tough. I don't know if I'm ready for this. So I ended up working on the South Park animated movie, and that was because I had knowledge of 3D Animator through the Alias Wavefront software, and that was a really cool experience in that, you know, it really gave you a good idea of what the whole industry was like. All right, so that leg goes there. That's what I'm trying to fix, this piece here. All right, but it was a tough experience too, in that you really had to work like really long hours, and sometimes you were working on computers that, you know, you really wanted to help out and go fast and help everybody else out, but they might have given you a computer that was like super slower than some of the other computers, it seemed. And then you just had to go from there. That wasn't all the time. That was just once in a while. Alright, so this leg is finally going down. And I want to loop it back to the original, so I think it would be like right there. What is this? Plus. Add new layer. But on the South Park movie, I did the lip sync animation. That was really good. You didn't need a fast computer for that. But the technical director position that I moved up to, I needed to really have a faster computer, because you had to work with a lot of textures and really heavy scenery and layers. So the computer speed really made a positive difference if you wanted to get a scene done quick enough. But it was pretty good though, because, you know, they just gave you a bunch of scenes to complete and set up, and there was like no really big quota that you had to meet, other than try to get as many done as fast as you could while being accurate. So that was kind of neat. But I decided after the movie was finished in 1999, right before it premiered, that working in the movie industry is really challenging because you have to line up your next job before the current job is finished. Otherwise, you could be out of work for months. So I was trying to find another job once that one ended. And it was like already a couple months in. I was like, this ain't going too well here. I didn't have a computer at home or anything where I was living. So, alright, what's going on here? Okay, I'm on this frame here. Now I'm on this frame. So this leg should be fully bent at this point. Alright, we're going to stop here. We're going to make the character start to drop this arm. We're going to shrink the arm and get back to the original proportion is the goal. And I'll get that face over here a little bit and then really stretch out his torso so it's a little bulkier. And now this arm's going to come down here like that and that like that. And I said, yeah, I'd rather create my own cartoons, you know. I just had so many ideas I wanted to work on. And I was reading up on the Disney, if you work for Disney, they're like, oh, well, everything you ever create while you're working for us is ours. Which sounds kind of like frustrating. But I could understand it because I guess they really want to control everything you do. They don't want any ideas leaked out and stuff like that. I can understand that. But that didn't sound like something I wanted to work on. After all, you learn that, for me, I felt like college was just learning software for computer animation. That's where the real advantage was. Otherwise, for the art classes, those were really interesting and I learned a lot about how to draw even better. I mean, I taught myself how to draw, but you learn better shading techniques and stuff like that from the lessons. I'm going to find a way to loop this back to this frame here. So when this frame here is over here, I'm just going to loop it right back and save myself a hassle. So we're going to end right here on frame 21. Now there is an exposure sheet, but I don't know how to use it yet. It's somewhere in here, unless I'm thinking of a different program. But that's it. Let's see what it looks like on playback. It'll glitch to the beginning, so let's see what happens. Yeah, you can see the character's really losing a lot of weight there. Or maybe he's just wide and he's just changing the angle of his torso there. That could be it, right? But that's kind of cool. And let me paint each frame in now. Let me do that. Alright, so where's the fill? Fill area, solid fill. Let's go with yellow. Alright, now this is kind of weird. Maybe it's not solid fill. Because when I did it, it wouldn't fill it in. Like, see, I just clicked on it, nothing happened. I don't understand. Fill area. So it should have filled. See, normally in a 2D animation program, it would have just filled, no questions asked. Active material index of active material slot. See, only when I click in that one little section, it'll fill it in. Unless you gotta go twice. Maybe that's it. Alright, so that first one's done. Now, okay, yeah, you just gotta go twice. I'm sorry. That's cool. See, now you can't just click forward here. Oh, okay, never mind. Before that didn't work. Alright, so you just gotta double click. Alright, that's cool. Oh no, see, it's not working now. This isn't filling in. I don't understand that. Unable to, unclosed area. That means there's a seam. Not a seam, a hole. A hole in the bucket. That's weird. There we go. Too much. That should do it. Go back to the paint bucket and let's see what happens. Isn't that weird? You got to go on a solid fill to get it to actually paint in. That's weird. I'm not used to this program. I kind of like it though. It's kind of neat. I used a program called Cheetah 3D for the Mac computer years ago to create Gnome in the Haunted Castle, which I thought was one of my better projects. Unable to fill unclosed area. What's going on here? Maybe it's this. That should have did it right there. And Cheetah 3D, what a easy to use program. That was like a dream software. Everything I wanted to do, it was so easy to understand for the interface. The keys were laid out exactly where I understood. It was like a really great program. And it's still going for Mac users. See, there's another hole. The only problem I had was my computer was so limited for computer graphics that the renders took forever. There we go. And just jump a frame. And I had so much detail in the characters at first. Well, I guess as much as I could get with my limited skill level. But then I had to cut everything back because the render time was just not practical at all. Like with 2D animation, I'm used to a render time of like 10 seconds per frame. But with 3D animation, computer animation on that program on my old computer, I mean, normally it was taking like 2 minutes a frame. I was like, how am I going to get this done in time? And that was for a really basic plain frame with a couple plants on the ground. Alright, what do I got to do here? Switching back and forth on this is kind of a hassle. Just to fill in the lines. I hope I got it there. Like paint bucket, it should just know right away, fill a solid stroke. I don't understand why it wouldn't do that. I'm probably missing something really obvious. I blame myself for not studying the software before I try to use it. But I like to jump into things, even though and like learn as I go. So that's my fault. But it seems like you have to switch from solid stroke to fill stroke just to paint in something. That's unusual for me. I'm not used to that. Like if I want to go to the paint bucket, right here it should just fill it in, but it doesn't do it because it's on solid stroke, and then you have to go solid fill. It's so weird. I've never really seen that before for paint. Once it paints though, it looks pretty good. Let's see. Once again, we got a hole somewhere. Even here. That's frustrating. But I understood that was probably going to happen, because I'm using a weird brush. Oh, you know what this reminds me of? Vector graphics, where you're not working with real bitmap lines. You're working with 3D, well, not 3D, vector-based lines. So it's a lot less responsive. It's a lot smoother line curves and everything else. All right, somewhere there's a line that's not being filled in. Please fill in. Thank you. Yeah, it's okay. It's kind of covering up my lines. There's probably a way to layer it differently, but I'm new to this, so I need to learn how. Anything I'm not getting the hang of, there's probably a way to do it better. So that's my fault. It's just learning the software, that's all. Oh wow, that was weird. Look at that. I have the line there, but it went right over it. There must be a hole there. Right there. There we go. We're getting there. It's almost done. The Disney animation software on the old Amiga 2000 computer, I thought that was really good. They did a great job on that program. You worked in the Cell Onion style. The only limitation was the lines were really pixelated. Like if you go on my retro playlist, you'll see my old animations from the Amiga 2000. Alright, so I gotta go back to the brush or the ink and then go back to solid fill, and then I missed it again. Somehow what am I doing? Oh, I'm on pen, never mind. Look at that, I forgot to draw the line for his back there. I need to go back to stroke and draw the line of his back. Now I can go back to this, switch to solid fill. There we go. Finally, I got it. I mean, cell animation is really cool when you could use exposure sheets and reuse elements so you don't have to do it over and over and over again. Alright, so somewhere there's a hole here. That's the problem with this brush. I probably don't have the thickness or consistency, so it's missing the gaps. Alright, I think we're almost, yeah, we're done. We finished it. There it is. That took quite a while to get through, but you can see the character really warp. But that's what I was going for the movement. And then I would get into jumps and kicks and flips and a run move and all that for the animation. And then eventually you could add in the face and the eyes and all that. When I watch back on the old cell animated cartoons in the 1980s for the, you know, Disney and then the Hanna-Barbera and all these TV shows and Ruby Spears and Marvel Animation and all this, I'm absolutely amazed how talented those artists are. Because here I am trying to draw this little character walking with like no detail at all, and they're adding like buttons on the shirt and like weapons and gear and full face features and glasses and hats and gloves and unbelievable amount of detail, and like shoulder plates and swords on their back and with all these details in it. It's amazing. And for them to draw frame by frame with that, I just am overwhelmed. And that's one of the reasons I didn't get into cell animation for like a professional studio. I also thought, well, how far is cell animation going to go? It was starting to fade out at that point. Well, it already was fading out because computer animation, 3D computer animation was taking over. Even in video games, because the 2D video games of the Sega Genesis, Super Nintendo, and arcade era, unfortunately, were fading away. But now all that's coming back, which is cool to see alongside of the 3D video games. And then you do have stereo 3D video games with the VR. See, I missed the part there. I could see it. Right there. Got it. Alright. So that's it. And here you go. Oh, see, I missed the part there. I don't know how I missed that. Oh, I know why. Because it wasn't filling in. I was afraid that once the line starts off too thin, it's not going to fill it in. Alright. So let's make sure I got all the frames filled in properly. And there we go. And I'm going to try to loop this somehow, so it doesn't just jump back to that one, but gets like a full walk. Alright, but that's it for now. Thanks for watching. Feel free to comment, like, subscribe, share, hit the bell icon for new videos, and thanks a lot.